Laura, with her plan meticulously set in motion, visited Clara's home under the guise of needing help. She pleaded with Clara, explaining the struggles she had faced as an ex-convict and how impossible it had been to find a job. She painted herself as the victim of a past mistake, eager to move forward. Clara, bound by her promise to help, felt compelled to offer Laura something. Knowing Laura's skills as an excellent cook and hardworking individual, Clara suggested that she work as a maid, helping out especially now that Clara was heavily pregnant. Little did Clara know, Laura had come only to take her revenge. Laura began working the very next day, performing her duties with perfection while quietly waiting for her real opportunity. She needed to be alone with Femi, Clara's husband. Days turned into weeks and weeks into months, but Femi was always at work. Laura waited patiently. Then at last, the day came. Femi was home, and Clara had gone for her prenatal checkup. Laura seized the moment. She approached Femi, her voice soft yet filled with emotion. "Do you really not know who I am?" she asked, her eyes pleading. "Have you forgotten everything we once had, Femi? The love we shared?" Femi stared at her, confused. "I don't recall. Do I know you?" he asked, his brow furrowed. Laura was stunned. "How can you not remember me, Femi? I used to be." Before she could finish, Femi cut her off sharply. "Don't do this," he said sternly. "Your madam is not around, and you think you can use this opportunity to flirt with me? Do you believe I'm like other men who betray their wives for anything in a skirt? I don't know what game you're playing, but I won't allow you to disrespect my wife in her absence. Whatever you have to say it in front of both of us." He turned and walked away, leaving Laura humiliated and enraged. How could it be that Femi had truly forgotten her? It didn't make sense. Something far deeper was at play, and she knew it. The man who once loved her with every fiber of his being now looked at her as a stranger. Laura was determined to reclaim what was hers, and she wasn't going to give up without a fight. She devised a new plan. If Femi couldn't remember her, she would make him fall in love with her all over again, just like he did 10 years ago. She knew exactly what to do. She began cooking his favorite dish, her signature jollof rice and fried fish. Every time Clara was at the hospital, Laura served the meal, watching with anticipation as Femi took each bite. The taste stirred something within him, vague, distant memories. Night after night, Femi stayed awake, troubled by the strange recollections the food triggered. Slowly, a bond began to form between him and Laura, as it had all those years ago. He found himself drawn to her, reliving the life he had once dreamed of. Laura's joy grew with each passing day, as her plan seemed to be working. But Clara wasn't blind to what was happening. She noticed the growing closeness between her husband and Laura. It gnawed at her, especially when Femi began refusing the meals she prepared for him, only wanting what Laura made. The tension in the house became unbearable. Clara knew she had to act. Laura had to go. Yet it wasn't that simple. Clara felt trapped. She had promised Laura a job, and she owed her for past mistakes. How could she simply throw her out without a second thought? In her desperation, Clara turned to her mother for guidance. She was sinking, and once again, she needed someone to save her from drowning. The next day, while both Femi and Clara were away, Laura, eager and excited, made a video call to Purity, Femi's sister. The two talked for hours, reconnecting as old friends. Purity was relieved to see that Laura was doing well, despite the hardships she'd endured. Leaning over the couch in the living room, Laura, in her excitement, began to recount how she had deliberately inserted herself into Clara's home to set her revenge in motion. "Femi is beginning to remember me," Laura said, her voice quivering with hope. "We're getting your brother back, Purity. Everything's falling into place," she reassured her friend. But in the middle of their conversation, Laura suddenly heard footsteps behind her. She froze, her heart racing. Turning around, she saw Clara and Mrs. Agatha walking into the room. Fear gripped her as her phone slipped from her trembling hands, hitting the ground. She quickly kicked it under the couch, praying they hadn't heard anything. Mrs. Agatha's sharp voice pierced the silence. "Get out of this room immediately." Laura stammered an apology, her voice barely audible as she backed out, her entire body shaking. She prayed they hadn't overheard her conversation. Unbeknownst to Laura, the video call hadn't ended. Underneath the couch, Purity was still on the line. "Hello, hello." "Laura, are you there?" Purity said, wondering what happened to the call. Seeing that there was no response, Purity was about to end the call when she began to hear Mrs. Agatha and Clara's conversation. Mrs. Agatha's anger filled the room as she scolded Clara. "I told you, Clara, but you never listened to me," she snapped, her voice laced with frustration. "Of all the things you could have done, you brought her into your home? After everything you did to get Femi, knowing the truth that must never come out. Now you're here, telling me she's back with your Femi. I don't know why you don't ever listen." Mrs. Agatha's voice rose with fury. "You're not as smart as I am. Do you think I would have gotten this far by playing fair?" Clara, her voice trembling, tried to explain through her tears. "I didn't know what to do, Mom. You know I owe Laura. No one would employ her, and I thought this was the only way I could help, by giving her some menial jobs. I never thought she'd get close to Femi again like this." But Mrs. Agatha wasn't interested in excuses. Her scolding continued, her voice harsh and unforgiving, raining down blame on Clara, who sat there trembling. All the while, Purity listened from the hidden phone under the couch, hearing every word of their heated conversation. Clara could only take so much as her mother continued to scream at her. Finally, her anger bubbled to the surface, and she exploded. "You can't keep blaming me for everything, Mom. You started all of this," she spat, the pain evident in her voice. "After I woke up in the hospital, I told you to drop the case against Laura, but you said it was too late. Your political campaign was at risk. You would have lost the election if there'd been any scandal around your name." Clara's tears flowed freely now as she continued, her voice cracking. "The news said I was killed because of the electoral competition. You told the press that Laura might have been sent by your opponent to take my life. You got your victory, you got your pity votes, you won the election, and I was forced to stay hidden for years until everyone forgot about it. And now, you're blaming me for this one mistake. I never wanted to hurt Laura. You forced me into this for your selfish campaign. Look what's happened now." Mrs. Agatha rolled her eyes, dismissing Clara's emotional outburst. "Oh, spare me the self-pity. You're just as guilty as I am. Haven't you enjoyed all the perks my election win brought you? Ungrateful child." She scoffed. "You wanted Femi, didn't you? Well, you got him. Now you're trying to act all righteous? Did you not learn anything from all I have taught you? Life is never won by a fair game. Do you have any idea what I've had to do to climb to this position?" Clara cried harder, her voice barely above a whisper. "Yes, but I never wanted all of this. I didn't ask for any of this. I'm not like you." Mrs. Agatha's lips curled in a sneer. "No, you didn't ask for it, but you agreed to it, didn't you?" she taunted. "We planned Femi's accident together, didn't we? Or are you pretending to have selective memory now? The night you followed him on the road, you drove towards him at a very high speed, shining your headlights into his eyes, blinding him. He lost control of his car, and the accident happened. You knew he couldn't swim, and yet you let him fall into the water. You got him out, sure, but then you paid the doctor to inject him with drugs that wiped his memory. You told him Laura was dead, Clara. You made him love you. All of that, wasn't it your doing?" Clara sat there, frozen in shame, unable to defend herself any longer. "You're trying to act innocent now," Mrs. Agatha pressed, her voice dripping with scorn. "You want to pin this all on me now that things are falling apart? Don't you dare. We're in this together." Clara's voice cracked as she cried. "What have you gotten me into, Mom? We should have told everyone the truth, that it was just a heart failure when I woke up. This has gone too far." "Oh, shut up," Mrs. Agatha snapped. "You can't run away now. You want to chicken out just because things aren't going according to plan? Sometimes I wonder why you're not like me. When things go wrong, you don't shy away. You find a way, Clara. You better stop crying and start thinking. We need to get rid of Laura for good this time, so you can keep your husband and I keep my power. Do you understand me?" Mrs. Agatha's voice was cold and firm. "She's in our clutches now. It shouldn't be hard." The two women began hatching another plan to pin Laura with another accusation, unaware that Purity had heard every word. Right from underneath the couch, Purity was still listening. Her heart sank as she realized the extent of Clara and Mrs. Agatha's betrayal. With a shaky hand, she ended the call and immediately called Laura. "Laura," Purity whispered urgently, "you need to leave that house right now. Don't ask questions, just run." Confused but trusting Purity's urgency, Laura grabbed her things and fled. She ran as fast as her legs could carry her, not daring to look back. Just as she got out of the gates of the mansion, the police swarmed the house, arresting Mrs. Agatha and Clara in the middle of their scheming. "You can't arrest me," Mrs. Agatha shouted, her voice laced with indignation. "Do you know who I am?" But the police played back the recording Purity had sent them, every incriminating word. Mrs. Agatha was silenced. Her power and influence could no longer shield her from the truth. Clara broke down in tears as both mother and daughter were led away in handcuffs, their reign of lies and manipulation finally crumbling. Purity, overwhelmed with emotion, called her brother. As she narrated the truth to him, piece by piece, Femi's memories began to return. It was like a floodgate had been opened. Everything became clear once again: the love he once had for Laura, the life they were meant to have together. Later the next day, Laura collapsed into Purity's arms after hearing all that was revealed through the video call. Laura sobbed uncontrollably as the weight of everything finally came crashing down. "Thank you for saving me," Laura whispered through her tears to her best friend. Purity held her close. "You deserve the truth, Laura. You deserve peace." They clung to each other, both crying for the years of pain and loss Laura had endured. In time, Femi fully regained his senses after undergoing series of therapy and proper medication. He sought Laura out, holding her tightly and pleading, with his eyes filled with tears. "Laura, forgive me. I am so sorry for everything, for not remembering, for everything you've been through because of us." Laura held him back, her own tears falling. "It wasn't your fault. We were both victims of their lies." She embraced him, the two of them holding on to each other, as if their love alone could heal all the scars. With Femi and Purity by her side, Laura was finally able to rebuild her life. She returned to the university, earning her master's degree and reclaiming the future that had once been stolen from her. On her Aunt Mrs. Dami's deathbed, she found forgiveness. "I'm sorry," her aunt whispered, her voice weak, "for everything I did to you." "I forgive you," Laura said, with tears in her eyes. "I always loved you despite it all." When Mrs. Dami passed, she left everything to Laura, a gesture of her remorse. But the greatest gift Laura received was not material. It was the peace that came with closure. Standing at the altar on her wedding day, Laura radiated joy in her white gown, her tears a mixture of pain and triumph. Across from her, Femi gazed at her with the same love he'd always had, now fully realized and returned. Purity, standing beside them as the maid of honor, could barely hold back her own tears as she watched Laura finally get the happiness she deserved. She smiled through her emotions, grateful that after everything, her friend had found her way back to the life she was always meant to have. As Laura and Femi exchanged vows, it wasn't just a promise between two lovers. It was a testament to endurance, to the power of truth, and to the fact that no matter how long it takes, justice and love will always find their way. The truth may be delayed, but it can never be denied. And as they lived out their days, hand in hand, it became clear: no matter how long the night, the dawn will break. The evil that sought to tear them apart only proved that light always wins, and love, real love, can never be extinguished. And so they lived, happily ever after. Thank you so much for watching. Please do not forget to leave a like, comment, and share this story with others. Until we meet again, stay blessed, and I'll see you in our next story.